is the best way. Okay, we gave the oil long enough to yeah. Should we wait again or not? Just leave. Just go weiter. Just go. Jesse saying go. Go. All right. 5 minutes already. That's enough time. 6 minutes.
Definitely go for it.
Okay. So where did we leave? By the Mishna, right? So we're going to try and buzz through a lot of finance again in this Mishna. So we're up to the Mishna on Tzadi Gimel Amud Beis. So Shaya, Nashoi, Daled Nashim. Somebody who's married to 4 women, right? Now, yesterday was 3 women, today is 4 women. Right, so Shaya, Nashoi, Daled Nashim, Umeis, I'm sorry. He has 4 women. Now again, when you have 4 women, whenever you have any amount of wives, your lands are automatically meshubed to the wives, right? So now you have 4 wives here that each one needs to get a kesuba. So how does it work?
Is the Mishna saying that you can't have 4 wives and live?
Perek sort of hinted on a Yom Kippur davening, like what's going on over here with these 4 wives and then dying. He understands it. It's something like that, Perek. I don't know if Perek is listening, but that's what. Yeah, Perek was sort of saying that, right? But we're going to see in the Gemara that it could be that he married even 4 of them on the same day. You can just imagine that.
At the same time.
My shiloh from Friday was if he's marrying all these women, why doesn't he have enough money from the shvers?
Well, I think the reason why he doesn't have enough money, meaning he might have had it initially, but
he wasn't learning that.
What are you saying?
What a nice Esrog.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, okay, whatever. All jokes aside, but the bottom line is this guy died penniless. That much we all understand, right? Guy had 4 wives. We understand he died penniless. That part is pushed, right? So, anyways, so Harishayna Kedemus L'Shnius. Obviously, the first wife collects before the second wife, right? Shnia L'Shlishis, second before the third. Shlishis L'Revius. Harishayna Nishbas L'Shnia. The first one has to make a shvua to the second wife. Right, that meaning we always also said if somebody, If somebody is going to collect on debts, he has to swear that he's never paid. So the first wife has to swear to the second wife that she's going to get that she never collected a kesuba. Ushniya l'shlishis, and the second to the third shlishis l'revius. But a revius nefrash l'beshuba. The 4th wife, she doesn't have to swear to anybody because she's the last of the lien holders. So she's not taking money away. If the 4th is getting paid, that means the first 3 wives were already paid. So if that's the case, she doesn't have anybody to swear to, so she doesn't have to swear. She could just take her money. But Nana says, because she's the 4th wife, she gains. Why shouldn't she have to make a shvua? She also shouldn't get paid unless she has to make a shvua. The question is, who's she making a shvua to? So we'll see that in the Gemara. Then the Gemara continues. The Mishnah continues. Let's say they all got married on the same day, right? So meaning he wrote the kesubas all on one day. So kolak meaning, so now what? The first part of the Mishnah, we're assuming they got married at 4 different times. Okay, so there's an order to it. But let's say they all got married on the same day. So who gets dibs? Who gets first dibs on the property? So kolak kedemus l'chaverta. Whoever comes first, afilu shah achas, even if one came first an hour earlier, zochsa, then she gets paid first. In Yerushalayim, they actually wrote hours. It's interesting. In our ksubas, I don't know if anybody ever paid attention to the ksubas. In our ksubas, they do not put hours. Right? If you read a ksuba, it says b'shishi b'shabbos, let's say, like on a Thursday night, the wedding will be shishi b'shabbos. If the wedding's on a Sunday, it's Berishon b'Shabbos, That's it. There's no hours in it, right? But in Yerushalayim, they put in hours like this. They were able to see if a guy married multiple women in one day. Right? That's what they would write in Yerushalayim shows. But let's say they all got married at the same hour. That's like that's some hour the guy had. Elmana, and there's only 100. So chalkas b'shava. In that situation, they all divide it equally. Fine. So what is Benanas arguing with the Tanakam? Tanakam again says the fourth wife does not have to make a shvur because there's nobody for her to swear to. Right? So Benana says she should make a shvur. But my comment, what's the machlokes? Who's she making a shvur to? So Shmuel on Talmud Aleph now. What happened is that one of the three wives, they grabbed the field from the husband, and the husband, I need that because I'm connected to it, right? Yeah, but not if it's going to slow me up. I'd rather you stream from a different phone. Yeah. Anyways, so one of them that grabbed the field for the kesuba ended up being that was not the husband's fields. So therefore, one of their field is going to be taken away from them. Right? Again, what happened is the guy didn't have money, so he had sold fields. So these women went and grabbed these fields from whoever he had sold the fields to, because they have first dibs on it, like any other person that's in debt. So now, but then they found out one of the fields from the first three wives was no good. It wasn't really, she did not have a right to take it. So eventually the guy's going to come back and take back his field. So now what happens is that the fourth woman is not really entitled to her field because the other women have to take theirs first. Right? Meaning it goes, well, that's what we're going to say the machlokes is. Does it go in order or not? Right? We had a machlokes a couple of blot ago. Do we go in order? Right? Meaning if a woman has, or any debtor, a guy's in debt, so he has a bunch of creditors. So the normal way to do it is the guy who had the first lien gets paid first, second lien for second, third lien. What happens if the third guy jumped and took his money before the first guy? So we said it's a machlokes. So that's what's going to happen here too, right? If the first lady, let's say, took a field that wasn't hers, right, and the second, third, and fourth took fields that belonged to her. Now, what ends up being is that the first lady can go turn around to the second, third, and fourth ladies and say, hey, the fields you guys have go to me first. So it could very well be that the fourth lady does have to make a shvua because she did take a field away from somebody. Right? So what's the machlokes? Whether a Baal Chayv that jumps the other Baal Chayv, right? The fourth, let's say, using an example, the fourth lien holder jumps and grabs the field before the first lien holder. So is that good or not? So a Baal Chayv mochel shekadam v'gava kanifni. Talking about a Baal Chayv who came later, what's the deal? Tanakama savar mashagava legava. Tanakama says what he collected is not collected, and therefore he has to give it back. So therefore there's no it's no shvua because she has to give it back. She's not getting the field anyways. What the fourth woman took, she gets to keep it. Since she gets to keep it, she has to swear to the other ladies why she's allowed to keep it. Fine. So that's the first way the pshat is machlokes. He says no. What everybody holds that what she collected, she didn't collect, and it has to be given back. So right now, there's no reason why the fourth woman should have to make a shvur. She's not keeping the field anyways. The machlokes is whether she's going, since this fourth lady knows that she's losing her field, are we afraid that she's going to just trash the field and not treat it properly until she gives it up? One holds we're afraid that she's going to wear down the field, right? So the mamel, she has to make a shvua that she wasn't paid, and then she could get the field. Umar Savar, and the other one says we're not chayshid that maybe she's going to ruin the field, and therefore the shvua doesn't make anything anyways. So it's not gonna. There's. I'm sorry, Umar Savar, right? Yeah, the Tanakama hold that we're not chayshid for it, right? And the shvua, you can't make her make any sort of shvua. That's the second text. Abaya says the Abaya Kshisha Ikebenayo. There is, because it was another Abaya Abaya, the Kshisha means older. The older Abaya, they're having a machlokes about what the older Abaya said. The Tani Abaya Kshisha, Yisaimim Sha'amru, right? Throughout this Gemara, we're talking about Yisaimim, that you have to swear to. And the reason why you have to swear to the Yisaimim is because the Yisaimim can't take care of themselves. They're orphans. So since they can't take care of themselves, so therefore they need somebody to swear that they're not ripping them off. Swearing helps people not stay away from ripping people off. But what does it mean Yisaimim Dafka, or does it mean any of the kids, because they don't really know what's going on in their father's estate? So we make them swear, right? So Abayik Shisha says that Yisaimim means Gedolim too. It doesn't only mean Ketanim. Ve'ein tzarich leimer Ketanim. Meaning Yisaimim, we say, means Gedolim, and it goes without saying that, of course, you have to swear to Ketanim. So Tanakama, let's look at Abayik Shisha. Tanakama doesn't hold of Abayik Shisha. So Mamela, we're talking about adults here. So the fourth wife does not have to swear. But Venanas is like the Abayik Shisha, but he holds of Abayik Shisha, and therefore somebody, whenever taking money from a father, from a state, from when a father dies, you have to make a shvur. Fine. Okay, so those are the three tiruts on how to understand our Gemara. Now the Gemara is going to go through cases that it's going to try and learn out from our Mishna. You have two brothers or two partners. It doesn't mean there are two brothers that are partners. It's two brothers or two partners. Right? I mean, this is a common occurrence. You have two partners and they get into a fight with somebody. So one of the partners says, I'll handle it. I'll go to Bezdin. You don't worry. I'll take care of it. And one of the brothers or one of the partners goes and he fights in Bezdin, and then he loses. So what does his partner say? I told you I should have taken care of it. So the other partner goes to the Bezdin and says, hey, he was fighting for himself. I want to make a fight for myself. So loy matzi idach lemeimar le, the other partner or the brother can't say, at la bal dvar lidiat, you were not my bal dvarim, you weren't with me in the din. Ella shlichuse abad, he did the shlichus, and the mela, both partners are out. Right? Meaning he can't say, who's my partner to fight for me? He fought for himself. He lost. I'm going to fight for myself. No, they represent each other. So once you send one partner, then that's it. Right? Ikla Rav Nachman L'Sura. Rav Nachman traveled to Surish. Shalui, they asked him, so they asked him this case. He said it's a Mishna. Which Mishna? Our past Mishna that we just learned. We said that the first wife swears to the second wife that she never got the kesuba, and the second wife swears to the third wife, and the third swears to the fourth. How come the first wife doesn't have to swear to the third wife that she didn't get her kesuba? How come the first one's only swearing to the second one? Isn't she could, if she's lying and she did take her kesuba, she's ripping off the second and third and fourth wife. So why is she only swearing to the first wife? Right? So she's like my timer. Lav mishum the shlichusa abda. Isn't it because she did? She's doing the shlichus, meaning they're all partners. The wife's considered all partners. So as long as she swears to one partner, it's as if she swore to all the partners. So you see from our Mishnah that all partners are considered the same. So what I ask is not a comparison. Midami hasam shvua le'echad shvua me'er. Once you make a shvua to one, you make a shvua to 100. Meaning, if you're swearing, the whole point of a swearing is to prevent the person from lying. Once she swears to wife number 2, that swearing is going to work for wife number 3, 4, and for a billion for the rest of the world, because one shvua is a shvua. It's not. It's all the same, right? Hacha Omar. Here it says ilu ano havoy tanan itfei, but here the partner, the case that we're talking about, one partner fought the fight. The partner could say, if I would have fought the fight, I would have done a much better job. So therefore, it's not necessarily a proof, right? But then with the whole case where we say that one partner can't say that he wants to do a fight with the other, right? Ella delay isa b'masa. That's only if the partner wasn't in town. Isa b'masa. But if he was in town, then he should have come. Meaning, this last part that we said, the one partner can taina, he says, I would have fought a much better fight. That only works if he was out of town. But if he was in town and you thought you could have fought a better fight, so then he should have fought a better fight. I mean, he should have come to fight. You didn't come to fight. It's your fault. So you're out.
He didn't know. He didn't get a consent of his partner to go to fight in Bezin.
No, it sounds like he did know that his partner, right?
So if he did know, so he was masking to go fight. So you didn't like the way he fights. You Monday morning quarterbacking him now. That he
Yes,
didn't
that's
fight
exactly what happened. One partner said, "Hey, my partner did a lousy job."
but you let him go. So then you should have gone.
That's exactly what the Gemara is saying.
But the fact that the first guy went, the first shutuf went, and the other guy was masking already that the other shutuf should go.
Right.
So then you were masking. So then he lost. Okay, too bad. You know what I mean? You have Reuven and Shimon as shutfim.
Oh, but I think, isn't that what the Gemara is saying?
Okay.
The Gemara is saying you were out of town. Okay, so you're out of town, you could have a time. Right? But you were in town, you should have been here.
If you were out of town, did he get the skama of the guy? Did he get the skama of his partner to go in? I mean, that's what I'm asking you.
He got his partner went in. Now he's regretting it. Right? Now he's regretting it. So if you were in town and you're regretting it, it's your fault. You should have gone to
I understand, but even if you were out of town, he didn't call his partner or he didn't get reshut from his partner before. Let's say he was out of town, this partner. And this Reuben, Shimon's out of town, Shimon's out of town, and Reuben went into the thing. Shimon didn't know that Reuben was going in.
He was out of town. He didn't have a choice. He couldn't fight the fight.
Okay, so that's not anybody's fault. Too bad. That's the shutter's fault. That's the partnership's fault. That's not anybody's.
Good. Whatever it is.
Okay.
Whatever it is, it's his problem, right? I'm saying yeah. Anyway, so Itmar, next case. Let's say two shtaras came out on the same day, meaning two guys come to Bezdin, this guy lost his money, and two guys come and say, hey, the field is Meshuba to us. And they both come with the same date. Rav Amar Cholkin, so what do you do in that case? So Rav says they split it. Right? What are you going to do? Shmuel Amar, Shudat the Daini. It's up to the Dayanim. The Dayanim figure out, okay, which one would he rather sell it to? And that's the one that gets it. Lema Rav Damak Reb Meir. Why don't we say that Rav holds like Reb Meir, who's the Amar Edi Chasima Karti, that the Edim on the signatures on the get are the ones that cut off the woman, meaning when the Edim sign on the get, what makes the get, the divorce, final? Is it the signatures, or is it when they hand over the witnesses, when they hand the get over from the husband to the wife? So Rameir holds it's the ones that sign on the signatures, right? Right. So if they're both signed on the same, so what does this have to do with us? So since we learn out by get that the ones that sign the get is what's the main thing. So shtaris is the same thing. So since both of these were signed on the same day, so Mamela, obviously the guy wasn't makbir, and he didn't write in one shachris, one from mincha. So therefore, there's no shoot at the daini. So they were going to say that they split it because we don't know. We just don't know. That's the on Talmud base. The Shmuel, the Amar Kereb Elazar, Shmuel Elazar, the Amar Edim Masira Karti, that the Edim that handed over is meaning the Edim that see the get being handed over are the ones that cut it off. Some of that consider her Karti, meaning cut off the husband from the wife. So therefore, they don't really need Edim. According to him, you don't really need Edim on the get. You just need Edim to be seen, right? And why do you sign on the get according to Rabbi Elazar? In case the Edim Masira die or you can't find them, so at least we have proof in the get that there were Edim that they were divorced, right? So here too, according to him, you could say, well, maybe the guy who was in debt liked one of these guys more than he liked the other one, and therefore he would go with him. So according to Rabbi Elazar, it would be shooted the daini. Okay, so Gemara wants to say that the machlokes Rav and Shmuel is the same machlokes as Rameh and Rabbi Elazar. And the Gemara says, no, the kuliyam like Rabbi Elazar. Everybody holds like Rabbi Elazar that the main Edim is on the get, is on the Masira. What's the machlek? Say Rav Savar Chaluka Hadifa. Rav says to split things is better. Meaning when you have two people fighting over something and it seems to be that there's no clear way to go with which one you're going to go with, better for them to split it. This is actually an interesting philosophical debate that comes up. What's better? Each one should get half. So at least you know that each one's getting something, but you both but you know both are wrong and both are right. Meaning you know that only one is really supposed to get it. We don't know which one. So we'd rather each one gain and each one lose. That's the way Rav says it. Shmuel saw a shoot at the dayan. No, it's better that the dayan decides which one gets it, even though the other one might be wrong. This is the story with David HaMelech splitting. This is the story with the baby.
Splitting the baby.
The David HaMelech with splitting the babies. Shlomo HaMelech, I'm sorry. Right, thank you. With the splitting the babies.
But this is not really din. It's not you're not coming out with the true din. You're not coming out with the emissary. You're just doing pshara, like Bezdin does today, right?
Exactly.
It's not really din. It's not really. You're not really.
Not really din.
It's not a din. You're pasking. You're saying I don't really know, so then let's split it. But you're not pasking what's really right. What's the emissary?
No, you're not correct, but we'd rather each side at least get something than paskin the wrong way, and one guy's left out totally in the cold. Right?
All I have to do is to put a good tie-in on my payroll, and I'm good to go.
That could be. But it's a.
I can go after every guy with my good tie-in. I'll hire a great tie-in. And I'll put him on my payroll, and we'll go after everybody.
There was a guy, you don't remember a few years ago in the Aguda, more than a few years already. There was a guy, he would hear about rumors. You got to hear this scam. I don't think the Gemara even had this scam. He would hear about rumors about real estate deals going down. So he would walk over to the guy a week before the deal went down and say, hey, I have a deal for you. And he said, what's the deal? And he'd tell him the address of the buildings, whatever, the houses. And the guy would say, no. It's okay, I'm fine. And then the guy would close the deal. This guy would then go to Bezdin and say, hey, I told him about the deal. I should get a piece of the what do you call it? And Bezdin, what are they gonna do? Bezdin says, okay, sure, right? Let him get a piece of the pie. There was a guy doing this. There was a guy doing this to people in Far Rockaway a bunch of years ago. Yeah. Right? That's the that's unfortunate, but that's the machlokes here. Do you rather each one be quasi happy, or maybe you take the wrong shot? So okay, so Gemara asks, can we really say that Rav holds like Rebbe Lazar that ain't the Masira Karti? Bamar Rav Yudam Rav halacha Rebbe Lazar. Begittin halacha is like Rebbe Lazar by Gittin, that the witnesses handing over the get is the main thing. But when I said in front of Shmuel, Amar Af B'Shtaris, the halach is even like Rebbe Lazar by Shtaris. Mechlal, the Rav saw B'Shtaris like. Because again, Rav had said halach is like Rebbe Lazar by get. And then when they went to Shmuel, Shmuel said not only is halach like Rebbe Lazar by get, it's also like Rebbe Lazar by Shtaris. Rav didn't say by Shtaris. Here we're talking about Shtaris. Here by the women. It's not talking about get. Mechlal, the Rav saw B'Shtaris like. Rav Rav holds like Remeir, and Shmuel holds like Rebbe Lazar. Fine. So Meisvei, Shnei Shtaros Hayotzim B'Yom Echad. If two stars went out on one day, meaning they were both dated the same day, Chalkin, you split them. That's like Rav, right? Rav says you have to split them. To the Shmuel, it's a kasha on Shmuel. Amalach Shmuel, how many Remeir? That price is going as a Remeir. But no Dami Rebbe Lazar. I go with Rebbe Lazar. Someone asks, but if it's going to Remeir, then look at the Sefer. Let's say he wrote, this guy was really messed up in his head. He wrote a shtar that he's selling his field to one guy. But what he did is he ended up giving the field to a different guy. So now each one's tiding that they get the field. So the one he handed it to, whoever he gave the debt, not the debt, the deed, the one that I guess ultimately would be the debt, but Zesha Masal Kana. Be Rameir, and if it's Rameir, my Kana, why is he kind of Hamar Edi Chasina Kardi? Rameir says we go with the ones that signed on it. The ones that on the star it said that it goes to Reuven. Then this guy went and handed the star to Shimon. So according to Rameir, it should go with Reuven. So the one answers Tanoi, that's actually a machlokes Tanoi. The Tanya v'chachamim marim yachloiku. The chachamim say that you split it. In this case, you split it. The Kan Amru, and here we say Masha Yirtza Hashlish Hasholish Yasa, whatever the Sholish wants to do. So we need a little background here. This case is talking about. This is a case in Gittin. So we had a third party, not a third party. How do you call it? Like an apotropos. He had to take care of the money. When he got, so he was told, this guy was told, take this money and bring it to these fellows. When he got to that fellow that he was supposed to bring the money to, the guy had died. He went back, so he says, okay, let me go back to the guy who sent the money with me. And then that guy died. So now what? What does he do with this money? Right? Again, the guy was sent as a shliach to deliver money to a guy. He gets to the guy's dead. He says, okay, let me go back and ask the sender what I'm supposed to do with the money. Then he comes back, the sender's dead. So now what?
He gives it to me. Gives it to me.
Yeah, avada. With the tax write-off too. Right? So the Tanya, they learn that about it. So they say split it. Right? Not obviously the people are dead, so they're not splitting it. The Yarshim split it. The Kan Amru, and here, but in Bavel they said, that's where they said in itself. But in Bavel they said, Mashiyitze Hasholish Yasa, whatever the Shliach decides, he must have been in tune with the situation. Whatever he decides to do, that's what we do. Fine. So then another case. Imei Rami Bar Chama's mother, in the morning, she wrote all her belongings. She gave it as a will. She gave it over to Rami Bar Chama. L'orta in the evening, she gave it over to Mar Ukva Bar Chama, that which was the different son. Right? This sounds like the typical post-death thing. Like she was thinking one thing in the morning and another thing at night. Never. Yeah. Also, Rami Bar Chama l'kamed Rav Sheshes. So Rami Bar Chama asked Rav Sheshes, Ukmei b'nachsa. And Rav Sheshes paskin that Rav Rami Bar Chama gets it, right? Because he had it first. It was in the morning. Also, Mar Ukva l'kamed Rav Nachman. Rav Ukva went to his rabbi, and Ukmei b'nachsa, and Rav Nachman said it goes to him. So also Rav Sheshes l'kamed Rav Nachman. Rav Sheshes came in front of Rav Nachman. Amarlei, my time over Mar Hachi. Why'd you do this? Why'd you give it to him? Amarlei, my time over Mar Hachi. Why'd you do this? This is again one of these more interesting give and takes that we have in Shas. Amarlei, the Kaddims, he said that he was first, right? In the morning, Rami Bar Chama's mother gave it to him. Amarlei, so he said to him, Atab Yerushalayim Yasvinan. Are we sitting in Yerushalayim? The Kasvinan Shais, like remember, our Mishna said in Yerushalayim, they put the hours into the shtar. And all the rest of the world, there's no hours in shtar, it's just days. So he says, are we in Yerushalayim that they write hours? How do you know one is in the morning, one is in the afternoon? Elamar, my time over Hachi. So then he said, okay, so then why did you paskin like Marokfa? Right, so Amarlei shuda the daini, because I said I'm a dayan, and I decided that it seems to be more that the mother would want Mar Ukva to have it instead of Rami Bar Chama. So Amarlei, I know nami shuda the daini. So I also used shuda the daini. I decided that you go to the other brother. Amarlei chada dana daino mar lav daino. First, I'm a dayan, you're not a dayan, so you can't. Your judgment doesn't work. Right, that's one thing. But it sounds like lahavdil, it almost sounds like a petty argument here. You were not really thinking that in the beginning. That you were thinking because he was given it first. Then I slugged you up, so then you went with that. Right? So that's the Gemara. Now Tosfos, so it sounds like it's petty, like, oh, you're not a dayan, I'm a dayan. No, so if you look at the bottom Tosfos, the bottom Tosfos says that there was in order to do shuda dadaini, what's the lashon in Tosfos? It's a kabbalah b'yadeinu. The shuda dadaini dafka b'makarkoi. You could only do shuda dadaini on karka, not on money. But dafka dayan mumcha k'Rav Nachman b'doiroi. It's only you have to be mamish a dayan mumcha in order to use your own judgment how to paskin. You have to be a mumcha b'doiroi. The Rav Sheshes gaver Rabba Hava. Rav Sheshes was a big man. Rav Nachman ain't a dayan. Last is shuda the dayan. Right. So therefore, there was a Messiah that unless you were an extreme expert in Choshen Mishpat, you cannot you cannot do Shuda the dining, right? Which reminds me, last week a guy called me with a whole neighbor fighting business, and I said, like, what? He's going crazy, he needs a eitzah. So I said, you speak to anybody? He says, yeah, he spoke to Reb Chaim Cohn. Reb Chaim Cohn is the Moshe Rabbeinu of Choshen Mishpat in America, right? He's the top Choshen Mishpat expert in. Oh, I happen to have a relationship with a little bit, and he told me he couldn't help me. So I said, let me get something straight. Reb Chaim Cohn couldn't help you, and you're calling me. I hear. I should have told him this Tosfos. Okay, I should have, but all right. Of course, it's a few days too late. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what it's saying. It's not like there was like a petty argument. He's saying Rav Sheish is saying, "Oh, you're not." Rav Nachman saying you're not right. No, you have to Ramesh be a world-class expert in order
what
to.
Is the parameters of it?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you mean? I have no idea. I imagine a lot of experience. These are the type of things where you need experience to understand what the sides are saying and trying to get a feel for who would be the one to.
So you got to go to a bezdin that's expert in this thing, basically.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so then the next story. Hanu, Trey Shtari, there were two stars that came in front of Rabbi Yosef. Chad have a kesuba b'chamisha b'Nisan. One said, 5th day of Nisan. The Chad have a kesuba b'Nisan stam, and the other star just said in Nisan. Right? So now who gets first dibs? This star could have been written on the first 4 days of Nisan, and he comes first, or it could have been written after the 5th of Nisan, and he comes last. So Rav Yosef lahu the chamisha b'Nisan b'nechasim. Rav Yosef said the guy who was written on the 5th, he gets to he's the first lien holder, not the other guy. Right? Amarle idach, the other one told him, I know afsit, so I should lose. So Amarle said, at yadach ala tachtani, your hand is on the bottom. You don't, right? Because maybe Ema maybe your star was written on the 29th of Nisan. This guy has a star written for the 5th of Nisan. Maybe yours was on the 25th of Nisan. So
why is the date have kedima? That's
because if the earlier the person who has the first date is what do you call it?
Maybe his is the second. What do you mean?
No, but he's the first lien holder.
Why is he the first lien holder? That's what I was trying to understand. Why is he the first lien holder? Because he has a date. Why is the date a determining factor?
Isn't that how it goes?
No. What do you mean? Why?
What do you mean? What if I have on my date that I bought the field from this guy, right?
On the 5th of Nisan, the other guy says in Nisan. So it could be any one of 29
correct.
days in Nisan.
Correct.
So
he paskin that the pashtus is the majority of the days is after the 5th. So we give it to the guy.
So let's say the star writes the 28th of Nisan, right? And the star says 28, and he says this one's empty. He one star
date at all. A star without a date is not. I don't think you'll be able to collect with that.
You're saying because it's Roiv days. I'm saying it's not Roiv days because if the star wrote 28, it's not Roiv days. If there was one stam and there was 128, it's not Roiv days, right?
What? It doesn't make a difference. So you can't have. You're talking about an undated star or
an undated star against one that
doesn't work. An undated star.
I'm asking what's the why?
Because every star has to have a date. Otherwise, how can you have a star without a date? Nobody could collect anything that doesn't have a date.
It was in the month of Nisan.
So it does have a date or doesn't have a date?
No date in the month of Nisan.
So that is a date.
It says stama means Benissen
Yeah, I'll
stomach.
tell you example. You go to a parking garage, right? And you lose your ticket. So what do? They charge you the maximum amount. Right?
Okay.
That's what he's saying here too. You have an undated star, we have to date it. We have to go with the last day of the month. Right?
What?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. The other guy
Okay.
is the 5th. He says that yours could have been on the 29th of the month. So therefore we have to look at it like that. That's exactly what he's saying. Yeah.
Is that what it's saying? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it. Maybe your star said Nisan was written on the 29th day.
So let's say the one star's written on the 29th, and the one that's written stam is then what are you going to tell me then? One star is written on the first star has a date.
Anything stam goes with the last day of the month. That's what he's saying.
Good. So let's say one star has the last day of the month, the 30th day of the month. That's the one that has a date, and the stam one has the stam one. We're going to look at the last day. So which one goes first?
You're going to go with the last. You if it's undated for that month, you're going with the last day of the month.
And the other star also has the last day of the month.
So then they're both on the same day.
So right. So what are you going to paskin then?
Same way as the previous case.
No, you're going to paskin. No, the Gemara isn't the Gemara saying you're paskin. The one that has a date has kedima. Period. Doesn't make a difference.
You said
one
they both have
month.
dates. I understand.
No, one is a stam, and one's written on the last day, 30
No,
days.
I think a stam is just not admissible.
You're telling me you're just saying that it's on the. You're just saying that it's because we assume it's the last day of the month.
Correct, but not if it's not if it's undated. You saying if it's undated, it's undated.
You're saying when it's undated, we assume it's the last day of the month.
No, when it's how could it be the last day? We have no idea when it was even written.
Right. So I'm asking.
Right. No, so then no. I think we don't. I don't think again. I don't know what exact in is with an undated star, but I think it's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable.
Reb Zev, you're welcome to stay on afterwards. Write all your questions down and submit them.
I think that's the way it goes. But
I gotta get my sukkah up.
Where are your kids?
Watching a Met game.
Yeah. Anyways, by the way, my psak for today in the chabura we had today was that it's more mutter if the Mets win tonight and there's a game tomorrow night. It is more mutter to leave that game on than to read the Mishpacha magazine, Ami magazine on Yom Tov. No question. I don't think any paisik can even argue on that.
Tzuyagam, I love it. Put that on your status. Go for it.
I actually am thinking about it.
Yeah.
No, please don't do it.
Only if you wear lace shaitel.
Right.
Please don't do it. Please. I love you too much.
Especially since they delivered the Mishpacha magazine to people on Yom Kippur.
Is that so? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that was circle. I think that was the circle.
Mishpacha also.
All right.
Okay,
I'm sure that was a mistake. Bye.
Let's finish.
Anyways, he says it's written on the 29th day of the month. Amar Levi nichtav limar. Then okay, Mar should write for me a star on Amud Aleph now. Tirfa me'ir ve'elach. That I should at least be able to get anything that was sold after Iyar. If he's saying that my star didn't have a day of the month, it was just written in Nisan, so that means I should at least be able to collect from Iyar and on. So Amar Lehi said, so Yosef said back to him, you want me Yachli Lamema, the people that want to take, meaning you want to take people's fields that your guy sold after Rosh Chodesh Iyar, they could tell you at Bar Chad Nisan, you're from the first of Nisan, right? And therefore, the guy from the 5th of Nisan, you didn't even have a right to it because the guy from the 5th of Nisan has I don't know if he has more of a right. Meaning, since we came after Iyar, meaning I'm sorry, he's stuck now because what Rabbi Yosef is saying, no, when you want to go collect from these guys are going to tell you, no. The rabbi told you start from Rosh Chodesh Iyar. We say that your star was from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right? And therefore you don't have a right to come at us. The other guy from the 5th of Nisan does, right? Yeah. So therefore, he's really stuck in the middle here. So the Gemara says, "My takante." What's he going to do? Every side is telling him, we don't know when your star was written, so we're going to go with the maximum loss for you. So he says, "Nichtavu harsha la'adadi." What they should do is they should give permission to each other, right? So the guy who doesn't have a date in his Nisan can ask Shimon to lend him the star and give him sort of a harsha that he's allowed to collect on behalf of Shimon, right? And then you have this whole challenge. Maybe then, I don't know if they would split it. That part I don't have. I don't know exactly sure how they're going to split it and how each one's going to gain from this, but that's what it's saying. He's going to have to come up to some sort of agreement with him. Yeah, fine. Okay, let's go a little bit weiter, yeah, because we have to make up for first day Yom Tov. So Zak the Mishna, Sהיה נשוי beis nashim. Somebody who's married, now we downgrade. We're back down to 2 wives. Right? So Sהיה נשוי beis nashim. Guys, what?
At least he's alive.
Yeah. Yes. So Sהיה נשוי beis nashim. So the guy's married only to 2 wives. And he sold his field, which is obviously meshubed to the wives, right? Like we learned. Because for Rishayna lelekeach, and the first wife wrote to the purchaser, meaning the guy who purchased the star from her husband. Now let's understand something what goes on here, right? A guy wants to sell his field, he needs money. Everybody knows that this guy's his only field, and they all know that his field is going to be meshubah to the wife for the kesuba. So nobody really wants to pay top dollar for this field. Because let's say the guy sells his field, let's say the guy buys his field, right? The next day the guy drops dead. Now he loses his field because it's going to have to be sold to give to the wife. So the wife decides she's going to be a good wife, and she goes to the purchaser and says, "Hey, buy my husband's field for a good price, and if he dies, I'm not going to come after you for that field." Right? A very good wife. Either that or she needs food, whichever. Right? So that's what she tells the guy. Right? So that's fine. She could do that. So again, the kasa rishayna lelekeach, and the rishayna, the first wife, writes to the lekeach, "Dinu dvarim ein li imach." I have nothing. I will not have any sort of tainas on you. Sa shniya maitzia ma lekeach. But the second wife never said this. So the second wife could go to the guy who purchased the property and say, "I need the money for my kesuba." For rishayna min ashniya. So then the first one could go to the second wife and say, "Hey, I come first. You took the field. Now I get it." Now she's allowed to do this because she doesn't have any non-compete or whatever deal, with the second wife. She only did it with the person that purchased it. Then lekeach min rishayna, and then the lekeach can go to rishayna and say, "Hey, you told me you're not taking my field, so give me back the field." So she has to give it back to him, and then we go around in circles. The chezeres chalila, and we go around in circles. Actually, yasu pshara b'neiim. You see, Zev, here we go. They got to make a pshara. Right? They all have to make up shara. Same thing with a bal chayv. Isha bailas chayv. In the same story, if they have a bal chayv and a woman who's a bailas chayv, you can have the same story. So the Gemara asks, and if let's say she did write that she has nothing to do with the lekeach, she's not going to tie them. But Tanya, we learned it right. Somebody tells his friend, I don't have any. I'm not going to have any. We had this Gemara before. I'm not going to have any tainas on you with this field. The ainly asikba, and I'm not going to have any business with it. And my hand is taken away from it, meaning I'm not going to have anything to do with this. Lo yomar klum. He said nothing. Right? So how? Meaning because there was no kinyan. There was no kinyan. So how can you say that she's giving what? What exactly is she giving? So one answers, no, we're talking about where he actually was kindness something from the wife. So therefore, meaning she did a kinyan sudar, like we do, with the mechilas chametz. She gave a pen, a handkerchief, or whatever it is, and there was a kinyan like that. So therefore, there was something substantial there. So Gemara says, let's say he was kained from her. So what? Tema, nachas ruach. Let her say, I really didn't mean to not collect the fields from you. I wanted to do a nachas ruach with my husband. I wanted my husband to be happy. If a guy bought something from the wife, and then from the husband, I'm sorry, and then he went and he took it from the wife, right? Meaning he went to the wife to get her haskama, that she would agree that she's not going to come after this. It's almost like she's saying that she was forced into it, and therefore it doesn't work. So you see that even if there's a kinyan, it doesn't help. The Tanya Kasav Larisha and V'lei Chasmula. If she writes a star to the guy, the first guy that's buying the field, and she didn't sign, and the wife did not agree to it, Lashani, but he sold a different field to another guy, and the wife did sign on it. If the ksubasa, so then she lost her ksuba, because if there's no fields to collect from, so she lost her ksuba because there's nothing to collect. They were a mayor. No, she could say nachas ruach. I didn't really mean to give up my rights to the fields. I was doing it as a nachas ruach with my husband. What do you have against me? What do you have with me? Rebbe, and what about Rebbe? Sasam la hacha karameir. The Sasam la hasan karabi. The Rebbe that seems to be a steer in Mishnayos. Here he paskins like Rameir, and here he paskins like Rabbi Yehuda, right? Which is, I'm not sure exactly understand why the Gemara doesn't think that's a steer and Rebbe, but Rebbe decides in one place to paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, one place to paskin like Rameir. Somewhere Papa, but Grusha, Papa has a different shot. In our Mishnah, we're talking about a Grusha where she was divorced with every akol, and then it's going according to everybody. Because after she's divorced, she's allowed to write that she's not going to collect from that field. Ravashi has a different terror. It's cooler Rameir. It's the whole sheet is Rameir. He's talking about where there's two purchasers. The Amri law, she can say Isa the Nachas Ruach Avda, that they could tell her, if you were doing this in Nachas Ruach, you should have. Why didn't you do it for the first purchaser? Right? There were two purchases there. One, she wrote. The first one, she didn't say anything to. The second one, she said, "I'm not going to deal with you." If she was trying to do nachas ruach for her husband, why didn't she say it to the first one? Or where there was only one lekeach. If either Rameir might, even Rameir's might. Umasnisin the kasav leila acher, and the Mishna is talking about where she wrote it to a different. It was a different field, right? And that she didn't agree to. Fine. So then the Gemara continues. We learned in the Mishnah over there, right? Right? Like we know, you're not allowed to take. You can't collect. You cannot collect from the chasim that are meshubed to somebody. Meaning, if a guy, right, it's a pasha the thing. A guy owes money, so you can't go take from fields that he had sold to somebody. If he has cash flow, you have to go get his cash first. Even if it's the cheapest fields, you're still not allowed to take it. All right, so Ibailus, I asked the Shaila, Ishtaduf b'nei chari, but let's say the b'nei chayrin, the fields that were free, literally meaning they were the ones that he didn't sell, got ruined. Mahu, the litruf mimishavdi, what is the din of, can he go get those from the things that are meshubed, because the fields went bad? Meaning initially when the debt happened, the guy had available fields for him to take, and I guess he didn't take it, or he didn't have time to take it, and then by the time he came time to collect, the fields were ruined, so now he can't collect that. So is he allowed to collect from the Shabbatim or not? So Tashma, Kasav L'Rishon V'Lo Chasmula, if the husband writes, like from our case that we said that he writes, he wrote a star that he's selling it, and the wife did not sign off on it. L'sheni v'chasmula, and the second, he sells the second field and she signs it. And if the kesuba, so she loses the kesuba. And if you think that the fields go free you're allowed to, meaning the field got ruined, that were available, you could still go to the Mishabadim. So granted, the kesuba from the second one she loses because she said she's not going to deal with him. From the first one, she should collect, because why not? It's available. I mean, it's not really available, but that's what's available now. How are you talk? My ibda misheni, when it means she loses a kesuba, she loses it from the second one, not from the first one. So Omar Rabba, that can't be shtei chuvas medover. There's two questions on this. Chada, the ibda legamri mashma, ibda means she totally loses a kesuba. But Tani, we learn another brayse. If she borrows from one, and then, I'm sorry, he, not she. If somebody borrowed money from somebody, and then he sold his property to somebody else, because of Baal Chayv, and the Baal Chayv wrote to the second buyer, right? I have nothing to do with you. Then he has nothing against the first purchaser. I left you someplace to collect it from, right? But you can't go to the second one because he said, I'm not going to deal with you. So Gemara says, Hasam, Iu, the Afsid Nafshe B'Yadayim. He did it himself. You can't bring a raya there because he's the one that did it himself. He told the second guy, I'm not going to deal with you. Who told him to do that? So Amar Rav Yemar. So Yemar the Amar Rav Rashi. Yemar says the Rashi on top of base now. We'll be finishing and we're not going to finish the Perek. Yeah? But Hamaisim B'Chol Yom. Right? Unless Peretz wants to make a l'chaim. But Ma'asim b'chol yom, we have this story every day. Right? That Rashi says that Dayanim allow people to collect from fields that were already sold to somebody else. The Mishkan le Pardisa l'chavrei le'esashnin. There was a guy who made a mashkin, right, to his friend that he's going to give him, meaning somebody borrowed money from his friend, and the friend told him, I'm giving you. He needed money. He had a vineyard. So he told him, give me some cash and I'm giving you my vineyard to work on it for 10 years. You could have that vineyard and that will pay back the loan. And in 10 years, you give it back to me. And after 5 years, it got weak and the vineyard was no longer giving off anything. So now he only got 5 years out of it and he's entitled to 5 more years. Also, come out of the Rabbanon. And they came in front of the Rabbanon, because tirfa. And they said he can go collect from other fields. So what do you see? That once the field gets ruined, he can go collect from another field. So the Gemara answers, no, Hasam Nami inhu hudav sidu anashayu. They caused themselves the loss. Why? They knew that these vineyards don't last forever. They know they get weak, and they still agree to it. They shouldn't have bought it. Meaning the person who bought the debt, they knew that, this guy, I guess they did a title search, so they know that this guy had given away a vineyard. So they should have known that those vineyards don't last too long. They should have known, if the vineyard goes kaput, then they're going to come collect the fields from us. They should have known that. And since they didn't do anything about it, then it's their problem. If the B'nei Chayrim, the available fields, get washed out or get destroyed, tarfim mishabdin, and you are allowed to go take from the mishabadim. Yeah, fine. Okay, that's the end of that subject here. We'll stop over here. I hope it was semi-understandable. The new Perek is much easier. Tomorrow, Bez Hashem, will be able to make a l'chaim on Erev Yom Tov, and then hopefully we'll do a blot and a half, and that will be that. All right. A good Tvach and a good yarn. Your Shami Kugel was gewaldig.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fine. All right. I got somebody here.
Okay, Yashikayach. I get to that.
All right. All right. What time tomorrow?
You let us set up the lulav in the morning on Yom Tov. It's better to do before.
I always set it up on the before, but if you're gonna knot anything, then you got to do it before.
Okay.
That's what time are we doing tomorrow? Should we just do much earlier because it's a Sunday, or should we just also do it closer to Yom Tov?
Much earlier.
Much earlier?
What's much earlier mean?
I'm saying like maybe 2:00 or something.
Yeah, maybe do Sunday morning. You get it out of the way.
I don't mind. I can do Sunday.
Want to do 9 o'clock? No, people down at 9:30.
9:30 might be a little early.
I'm in here, man. Parents is davening. What time you finish davening, parents?
10 o'clock.
Parents, we can't hear you. You're muted.
It starts 9:45. By 10 o'clock, you should be good to start, Daf.
Don't talk. Got a lot of people over here, but no, we started at around 10:20 today.
We're not talking about today. We're asking about tomorrow, daf, parents.
Oh, tomorrow morning we can make a meeting at not 10:20. I don't mind.
Oh, he's not listening, man.
Parents,
Selective hearing is great.
Parents,
I got so many people here, I can't hear nothing.
parents, can you focus for a minute here? We're talking about making the
what
daf
time do you want to
tomorrow.
start Daf tomorrow? What time are you davening tomorrow morning that we can start Daf
I
after?
can do the dot before davening. Depends how early you start.
That's true
Okay, so
too.
10 o'clock Daf.
Rabbi Stein, do you need a big delivery of a Rebos, or are you good for first days?
I think I'm good for first days. I don't know. I'll find out tonight. I'll see what they have.
What have? Don't buy it.
Well, it depends. I need to buy something with my kids in Williamsburg. That's part of the trip.
Are you going to Williamsburg tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, so just let me know.
Thank you. I
Not
appreciate
like
it.
I'm gonna run out.
I'm sure you're not.
All right, so one thing, what are we doing tomorrow? Bottom line.
I don't know. What do you think the Ilam?
11 o'clock, maybe, is that safe?
What do you
What
say?
time?
Maybe 11 o'clock is safe, so parents can finish davening.
No, people
A
are
little
busy
too
with
late into
errands
the
and stuff. People are busy with errands. Either they do it earlier or later. People are busy with errands.
I
10
think 10
o'clock is
o'clock.
probably the latest.
I would say, what do you say, Jacob?
Avi? What did Avi say? I thought he just said something.
They're still alive.
I thought he said something. Maybe not. How about a 9:45?
9:45.